All good, all set. Good evening and welcome to Front Page, only on the AIM network, India's definitive media organization and voice on everything AI and technology. Tonight, the question is no longer what AI can do, that is already pretty much well established, but where can AI run and who controls it? And to find out, here are the headlines. Google unveils Project Genie for playable worlds and agentic vision for smarter reasoning while disrupting India's coaching industry with free AI-driven JEE main mock tests for millions. Dell, Nvidia and NextGen join forces to build India's largest AI factory, deploying 4,000 Blackwell GPUs to establish a sovereign computing spine for startups, enterprises and government innovation. AI search startup Perplexity secures a massive $750 million three-year agreement with Microsoft Azure to source frontier models via Foundry, diversifying its infrastructure despite active litigation with primary provider Amazon Web Services. And finally, developers are increasingly running Moltbot locally on personal machines, driving Mac Mini demand as always-on AI agents shift from cloud tools to persistent, system-level digital assistants. Hello and welcome to Front Page. Google, did you know, is tired of being the librarian. It wants to be the architect and the detective. For years, the storyline was quite plain. You search, they find. That era, my friend, is done and dusted and finished because we are looking at a double frontier war from Mountain View. On the one front is about escaping reality. The other frontier is about dissecting it. But to go behind the frontier lines and get the intelligence, we will have to remove the corporate jargon. And as we do that, please hit like, share and subscribe. Welcome to Front Page. First up, Project Genie. This is Google DeepMind playing with world models. The pitch is we type a prompt or upload a sketch. Genie 3 takes that text and builds a playable video game level instantly. We are no longer watching a video, we are immersed inside of it. First person, third person, we just need to hold the controller and the terrain generates as we move. It's like an infinite sandbox, if you will. What they are calling it as is a research prototype, which is actually code speak for it's still far from perfect. What it uses is an image generator called Nano Banana Pro, yes, that is the real name, to build the preview. Then Genie 3 takes over on the physics front. We can remix, share clips. And it has of course started rolling out to Google AI Ultra subscribers in the United States right now as we speak. But of course a closer look reveals that the graphics, not photorealistic, the movement is rough, and of course the clock is ticking which makes it a time-limited aspect. Clearly, this isn't Call of Duty, no, but it looks more like a fever dream. The question now is, why build it? Because if an AI can simulate a world for a gamer, it can definitely simulate a world for a robot. And that, my friends, is the long game. Now, of course, it's time for a reality check. While Genie is dreaming, Gemini 3 Flash is putting on a trench coat. They call it agentic vision. Here is, of course, the problem with the old AI vision. It glances at a picture like a bored tourist. We've all done that. I guess that means it hallucinates. We've all done that too. Agentic vision doesn't glance, it hunts down. Yes, that's the difference. Google describes this as active reasoning. I, of course, on the other hand, call it interrogation. The model sees it as an image. It doesn't just spit out the answer. It plans, it writes Python scripts, it zooms in, it manipulates the pixels to find the truth. It counts objects, it reads the fine print you missed, it grounds its answers in evidence. It treats vision like a math problem and not as an abstract art project. The results? Well, they reveal a consistent 5 to 10% boost on vision benchmarks, fewer hallucinations, which is a good thing, because it no longer just speaks, it actually starts to cross-check. It verifies what it sees. It checks its own receipts. And once you build a system that can do that, the next obvious target is education. This, we believe, is not so much about just content, but actually it is an attempt at an early capture. We all sense it, that data has replaced tuition. Yes, attention has replaced fees. And with that, the goal is to make Gemini the default thinking tool before students ever step into a university. Sundar Pichai knows this system. He came through it. He is, of course, an IIT alumni. And he is, of course, opening the floodgates, not as a charity, don't be mistaken, but as a distribution at the level of cognition. And you know what? The old gatekeepers are definitely starting to feel it. So I want to ask you this. Don't you think when intelligence becomes free and adaptive, the real question isn't who cracks the exam, but what does education even mean anymore? Please let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, yes, this, ladies and gentlemen, is Front Page by the AIM Network. Like, share, subscribe, and always remember, think AI, think AIM. Welcome to Front Page. So let's just forget what a factory used to mean. Here, there is no smoke or conveyor belts, or for that matter, workers in hard hats. This factory floor is where nothing is assembled, welded, or shipped for that matter. Not because it is on strike, don't get it wrong. On the other hand, absolutely the opposite of that, because the only thing being produced is intelligence. And yes, the announcement that was just made puts that very idea on an industrial scale. Dell Technologies, Nvidia, Next Gen, the Triumvirate have, of course, signed the papers to build India's largest AI factory. But you know what? Wait a minute. Before we move on, would you not like to know what is an AI factory? I definitely would like to understand. It actually sounds like a branding gimmick, or probably like science fiction. It's neither. It is actually just a very expensive data center with a much larger electricity bill. Ordinary clouds, you wonder? They, of course, are generalists. They host websites. They store your photos. An AI factory, though, is a specialist. It is like a very well-trained sniper. It does one thing and it does it supremely well. What it does is, of course, that it trains models. Massive, heavy, energy-hungry models. If you don't believe me, here is that very arsenal. The headline number is 4,000. Yeah, that is 4,000 Nvidia Blackwell GPUs. If you know chips, you know this is the top of the food chain. This is industrial grade compute. Dell provides the iron, the body, the power edge, which is XE N685L servers. Nvidia provides the brains, the Blackwells, the Bluefield 3 DPUs for data processing, the Spectrum X networking to tie it all together. And because physics is still, well, pretty much undefeated and laughing somewhere very dramatically, these things run hot, as we all know, my friends. So they are, of course, using liquid cooling, high speed, high heat, and maximum efficiency. But then one starts to wonder about this. Why next gen? Why not just use AWS or Azure? Because of one word. And that word is sovereignty. Next gen is the Indian player here. The premise is simple. Data is the new oil, and nations are realizing they shouldn't be actually storing their oil in someone else's tank. This factory operates on a sovereign cloud framework, which means the data stays right here. It is governed by Indian laws in a domestic fortress, eliminating the anxiety about routing sensitive government data through servers in Virginia or, for that matter, Frankfurt. So the point is, how does this influence the lives of the coder, the founder, and of course the student? Yes, you might be watching right now. Here it is. Right now, if you want to train a massive model, you pay rent. You pay it in dollars and you pay it to foreign giants. This facility changes the economics by democratizing the power. They are, of course, targeting generative AI, agentic AI. That's AI that takes action and doesn't just talk back. It is physical AI for robotics. And it allows Indian startups to rent a Ferrari for the price of a sedan. It lets academia run simulations that used to be well too expensive to touch. And on that note, as you were waiting for it, here is the front page take. The hardware is arriving and the ambition is waiting to welcome it. This places India on the map alongside the big global players. It is a move for self-reliance, and more importantly, it is a move to upgrade ourselves from being just, consumers of AI to becoming producers. But we need to also remember that hardware is only half the battle. The chips are purchased, the factory is being built, which is wonderful, and the narrative is in place. What we need to do is actually wait and see if the innovation follows and complements the infrastructure. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Front Page by AIM Network. Like, share, subscribe, and as we always say, think AI, think AIM. Hello and welcome to Front Page. You have noticed it, yes, as well, right? That the timeline has been whispering. Where is Perplexity? Where is Arvind Srinivas? The critiques have been emphatic about the bubble burst. They said the search killer was getting demolished. Did you think they were hiding? Or you thought they were sleeping? Wrong on both accounts, I'm afraid. Because the news coming from Perplexity, which is saying there are $750 million worth of reasons to switch sides. And here is the headline. Bloomberg reported Perplexity just announced $750 million, which is $750 million as a 3-year deal. And who's on the receiving end, you wonder? Microsoft. The ink has not dried yet. Reuters has confirmed it. Bloomberg broke this news. So Perplexity is tapping Microsoft Azure to power its brain. But please don't, let the headline fool you at any level, because this does not look like some brilliant partnership. It actually seems more like leverage play. I'll explain. Which logically brings us to the strategy examination. Microsoft has a program called Foundry. To give you an insight into what it is, think of it as the ultimate VIP lounge for AI models. So by signing this deal, Perplexity doesn't just get Microsoft's tech, they get everything. They get access to OpenAI, they get Anthropic, they even get Elon's XAI, all running on Microsoft's infrastructure. So it's actually a buffet, not the Warren kind. I hope you got that. And you know what? Perplexity is starving. And Microsoft is being the best ever host by serving everyone's food, even their rivals, if you will. So if you thought that that was not dramatic enough, here is the narrative war. Perplexity swears, hand on heart, that Amazon Web Services, AWS, is still their main cloud provider. They haven't moved out, but the context. Do you remember 2025? Amazon sued Perplexity. They dragged them to court over the agentic shopping feature, accused them of infiltrating customer accounts, accused them of faking human activity. So now, picture this. Let us say you are being sued, God forbid, by your landlord, but you still keep paying rent. Meanwhile, You, who is being sued, hands over $750 million to the guy across the street. Saying that this situation is complicated is an understatement. Clearly, of course, we need to understand what does this mean for the ecosystem. Startups are very scared. They have learned their lesson not to build one's castle only on one landlord's land, which means Perplexity is diversifying. They are pitching the giants against each other, a multi-cloud strategy. It sounds boring maybe, but you know what? It is actually for survival. And for Microsoft, this is big. They are positioning Foundry as the neutral hub and saying with a very, very big smile, come to us. We have all the models. We don't care who made them. Doesn't matter. Which makes it, of course, very aggressive and smart. So what does it mean for you who's watching? Hello. I ask myself, why should a 25-year-old scrolling Twitter care about cloud contracts? Yeah. Well, because your tools are about to get way sharper. Perplexity is fighting for its life. They need the best models and the fastest speed. And what they are willing to do is to burn cash to keep you searching. The search war is far from over. It actually just got locked and loaded. And Perplexity is still in the ring. And we, of course, at Front Page are watching from ringside as the bell goes off. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Front Page by AIM Network. Like, share, subscribe. Think AI. Think AIM. Welcome to Front Page. Well, over the last few weeks, something very interesting has happened. Developers haven't been buying new phones or gaming consoles. They've actually been buying Mac Minis. Not for Apple, not for because of work, but to run an AI. It's actually for something called Clawbot. Yes? Oh, and of course, by the way, it's also just had a name change from Clawbot to Moltbot to OpenClaw, and of course, the naming ceremony still continues, which has, of course, happened after a trademark issue, which was marked out by Anthropic, which is ironic because for something that's supposedly going through right now an identity crisis, it is still working fabulously without any anxiety. It is actually an open source AI assistant that doesn't just chat, but lives on your system, remembers you, installs software, runs tasks, and basically behaves like a very silent but very capable digital colleague. People, of course, are starting to call it their first AI employee. Some are running 2 or 3 of them like a little tiny startup, very, very entrepreneurial, I say. One user, of course, said their Clawbot stopped working for a day and they felt worse than when they had lost a 15-hour gaming save. Another said it hurt more than their last breakup. Well, which clearly tells us why the breakup happened in the first place. Anyway, and the irony is, the creator of Clawbot actually told people to stop buying hardware and just run it on a cheap cloud server. But by then, it was too late. The emotional bond had already been formed. Well, I think you can also sense it like I can. The shift is starting to take place, no? From using AI occasionally to having AI around you all the time. Remembering things, doing things, and slowly becoming part of your digital life. Well, to delve deeper into what's really going on here, I am joined by Siddharth Jindal, our very capable tech journalist who's been tracking the Clawbot trend and a lot more. And of course, he's going to be shedding light on this, and he's going to be telling us what's going on in the world of Claudebot. Is it Moltbot? Is it? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sudhi. I'll finish your sentence. It is open close right now.
Fair enough. Thank you so much. Pleasure to have you with us on Front Page. So Siddharth, let's just first start with the fact that why is there so much of excitement around Claudebot? We've all used ChatGPT or Claude. So what makes this so much more different?
It is different from other products like ChatGPT or Claude in the sense that, first of all, it is open source. And in the tech community, like developers love open source projects. So I myself got to know about Claudebot last week when it suddenly started appearing on my feed where several developers were playing around with it. Today, as we speak, on GitHub, it is already gaining traction. It has over 107K stars and 15K forks. So that speaks for itself, like how much people are loving it. So you asked me like, what is it? So in simple terms, it is an open source AI assistant which can run locally on your servers. Like you gave the example of Apple Mac Mini. So you can run locally on your Windows and Linux devices as well. So,
but despite the founder or despite the gentleman, the developer who had who's found Claudebot, him saying that you can run it on very cheap hardware as well. Why is there excitement about buying Mac Minis?
So excitement about buying Mac Minis that like it runs good on that.
Okay.
And it's fast. And the journey of Claudebot or Moltbot in itself is very OpenClaw, it itself is very exciting. So it was created by a developer, Australian developer Peter Steinberger. So like he has worked in the developer space for more than 13 years. So he previously also founded his own startup before building this product. So like he actually came out of sabbatical to build this. So he took retirement. And if you read
must be very happy about that decision.
So interestingly, his Twitter bio reads, came back out of retirement to mess with AI and make an AI lobster take over the world. So that's why if you see the background, like lobster is the logo of the company as well. So he's also the creator of PS PDF Kit. Is his old product that also gained quite popularity.
Fair enough. But tell me this here, Siddharth. Are you not feeling this, that, you know, there is this almost like a cultural moment which is taking place? You know, a lot of developers are trying to set this up as almost in harmony or in a symphony all together. What's that all about? I mean, because again, it brings us to the point that there have been points in time in the past where we've had AI agents work for us and do work with them. But why? This is almost like a cultural movement.
See, the cultural movement is because like it is changing the way how we interact with agents. So in the case of ChatGPT, we were mostly speaking inside ChatGPT. So the game changes here in the sense that we can talk to agents to our normal messaging apps like WhatsApp, Slack, Telegram. So people, like, the mission behind this product was that you should be able to control your agents to normal messaging apps. So there are many interesting use cases appearing on social media. For example, one of the Indian engineer is using this product to order Swiggy. So, and he doesn't need to order it regularly. So the agent remembers his preferences and choices and what time does he likes his chai.
I remember from your article, or I think you and I were discussing this, there was some developer who had actually employed Claudebot for interpreting radio signals, and the bot on its own learned how to interpret emergency signals. So it's quite like enterprising, proactive.
In this case also, like there was an instance where the agent itself started speaking. The user didn't give a prompt for that. So it's self-learning.
Scary, but
it's scary.
Interesting as well.
The agent is self-learning as well. And like memory was one of the key bottlenecks for AI agents. In this case, the memory is also good. Like I mentioned, it remembers your choices and preferences. And on the basis of that, it can make an Swiggy order for you on daily basis.
So it's fabulous, which is very interesting. Which is that why a lot of people, there is this trend going on, right? Where everyone seems to be calling it like their first AI employee. I'd mentioned at the top
Yeah.
I mentioned at the top
Yeah.
that the fact that it is 2 or 3 agents are being employed together
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
like a tiny startup.
Yes,
So
yes.
I want to ask you, is it just like a catchy phrase, or are we seeing a new emergence of in terms of an era
Yeah.
as far as the software era is concerned?
So I'll say it will be too early to say it being an AI employee. So like enterprises are not going to use it as of now because it is in very early stage. Right now, I like to call it a fun product, like side project, or maybe an AI assistant which people
Okay.
are playing around with. So as it can connect with multiple APIs and LLMs according to needs of the developer or user. So I wouldn't say it's an AI employee right now, because when we call AI an employee, it will be in industry setup or maybe an office setup.
All right, fair enough.
Where like security and safeguards should be taken care of before.
So that means no salary structure for
No,
this
no.
employee as
Yeah,
of right now.
it's
No HR policies.
No. It's an AI tool, like it's a tool for kids
To just kind of grapple with.
Yeah, play around, experiment, maybe develop new use cases. It might open doors for new use cases in future. Like it gives you an idea, like what.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
So I see where you're talking about this going.
Yeah.
Finally, I want to ask you this. It is extremely efficient. We've established that. It's utilizing, it's putting up agents on its own. It's hiring colleagues almost on its own and doing the work. But of course, that brings us to this point, Siddharth. It does throw up, these concerns about, let's say, safety or privacy or data leaks. So how would you like to address that for everyone out there?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, it is in early stage. The founder himself admits that the security aspect hasn't been taken care of yet, but he today published a blog in which says security will be a key priority for the next steps. Yeah. So there are very risk associated with it. For Cisco, for instance, published a blog in which says it knows everything about you because it runs locally.
Correct. So if it can order Swiggy for you, so then
So it can execute shell commands, and there are threats for prompt injections and API leaking as well.
Right.
So people should be careful right now, how they are using it. And companies are coming forward as well. For instance, Cloudflare, which is known for its security, also released a new tool called Moltbot, specifically for
OpenClaw.
OpenClaw, yeah. Yes, for OpenClaw, where it will take care of the security aspect of it.
Okay. So what is your front page take, Siddharth? I know you're excited about this. Actually, so am I.
Yeah.
It seems to be a very new, unique thing that seems to have caught everyone's attention. But what would you like to say in terms of your front page take?
So my front page take will be I'll want developers around the world in India to play around with OpenClaw and give us example of how they are using it and what interesting use cases they are landing on. So it will be interesting. Don't shy away from it, but be careful what APIs and data you are giving it to it, giving and come up with new ideas. We'd love to talk about in maybe next episode.
Sure.
Yeah.
How brilliantly done, Siddharth, that you're going to be part of Front Page again. Well done. I like that. Yes. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that of course is Siddharth Jindal. You've heard his front page take. We'd just like to elaborate a little bit on what Siddharth had mentioned. It definitely feels like we are moving from using AI to living with AI. And Claudebot or OpenClaw or Moltbot might be one of the first tools that makes that future feel very real. Not in a science fiction kind of a way, but in a very practical, everyday kind of a way. Yeah, it is still in its embryonic stage. There are security aspects, so we need to be concerned about that. But it seems like your computer just hired a colleague, and you, my friend, have not been informed about it as yet, which means your computer watches Front Page. Yes, and it thinks AI. So logically, it thinks AI.